trouble. Oh, we got trouble right here in River City.
Right here in River City.
With a capital T and that rhymes with P and that stands for pool.
That stands for pool.
We surely got trouble.
We surely got trouble.
Right here in River City.
Right here.
We gotta figure out a way to keep the young ones moral after school. Like children's gonna have trouble. Mother in River City. Heed that warning before it's too late. Watch for the telltale signs of corruption. The minute your son leaves the house, does he rebuckle his knickerbockers below the knee? Is there a nicotine stain on his index finger? A dime novel hidden in the corn crib? Is he starting to memorize jokes from Captain Billy's whiz bag? Are certain words creeping into his conversation? Words like, swell! And so's your old man! Well, so, my friends, we got trouble! Right here in River City! With a capital T and that rhymes with P and that stands for pool!
That stands for pool.
We sure got trouble! Right here in River City!
Right here.
Remember the Maine, Plymouth Rock, and the Golden Rule! Oh, we got trouble! We're in terrible, terrible trouble. That game with the 15 numbered balls at the devil's toes. Oh yes, we got trouble, trouble, trouble. Oh yes, we got trouble. Here we got big, big trouble with a T. That rhymes with P. That stands for pool.
Welcome, everybody. We've all aged. My name is Michael Coppola, for those of you who don't know me, and I have the pleasure of being your MC for this event. Elaine probably could have done this whole program without these notes, but she gets to sit back and enjoy this time with the rest of you. I want to welcome everybody, fellow actors and actresses, accompanists, lighting people, sound people, set construction people, artists, seamstresses, refreshment servers, ushers, house managers, sponsors, photographers, and our loyal audience members. We need to first give a special shout out to Dick and Karen Vinson, former owners of the Ben Franklin store in Raymond, without whom, as Elaine always says, we could not have become. Today we have the pleasure of having Mary Gatchell accompanying our performers. Most of you know Mary, but for those of you who don't, here's a little information about this talented young woman. Mary played Annie and Dorothy, as well as was in many of the ensembles for many of Elaine's shows. She graduated NYU magna cum laude. Bruce and Elaine took busfuls of Leddy people and Epping people to New York City twice to see Mary perform oboe at the Carnegie Hall. Mary sang backup for the Rolling Stones in their 3 concerts in New York City for their 50th anniversary tour. She was Glenn Close's solo accompanist rehearsal for 3 days at Glenn's home in preparation for a Broadway show. And most recently, she was sole rehearsal accompanist for John Legend and Alice Cooper for 8 weeks for their NBC special Jesus Christ Superstar Live on Easter night. Mary also conducted the orchestra for that production for the entire dress rehearsal week. She presently teaches at NYU and NYAC College. She teaches privately. She performs concerts in the city, and she has 8 albums to her credit. Mary has performed 36 concerts here at Leddy Center since the age of 15 and will be performing for you here this afternoon. Years ago, I submitted Bruce and Elaine's names to the New Hampshire Theater Awards Committee for their Lifetime Recognition Award. This was part of my nomination letter. I would like to place Bruce and Elaine Gatchell in nomination for the Lifetime Achievement Award. This is their 41st consecutive year of presenting Broadway-style shows in Epping, New Hampshire. They founded Leddy Center for the Performing Arts and have run it as a successful nonprofit organization for 41 seasons. Hundreds of actors and actresses have passed through the doors of Leddy Center over the years and have gone on to work in national and international tours, film and television, have gone on to create their own theater companies, and work for major cruise lines and theme parks. Leddy Center is also home to a successful school for music, dance, instruments, and voice lessons. Though a quiet organization, you can probably ask many of the actors working at larger, flashier companies in the area if they've ever worked at Leddy Center. And you'll probably get at least a 90% yes, we have. Like other organizations, Leddy Center is run with a board of directors. But unlike other organizations, one director and one musical director have produced all the shows. Elaine is the artistic director, producer, publicist, fundraiser, sponsor getter, selection committee, etc. While Bruce is the musical director, set builder, lighting designer, parking lot attendant, etc. Without the dedication and passion that Bruce and Elaine have for the arts, hundreds of actors would never have started in the theater, and thousands of audience members would never have experienced live theater. I can appreciate your past choices for this honor and hope you can see that it's time for this deserving couple to be recognized for doing what other organizations have teams of people to do, and they've been doing it continuously for 41 years. Having worked at many theaters in the area, I'm proud to call Leddy Center my home base. Thank you, Michael Coppola. Now, as lengthy as that was, that's only the Reader's Digest version. Sit back and relax, because this afternoon you're going to get the whole story. You're going to see many photos and hear many names, familiar to some and new to others. Elaine wanted to be sure to thank everyone who's made Leddy Center the institution it is. So if you hear a few names over and over again, well, it's because those people did many, many things, and that's the way it is. In 1975, oil was in short supply. The Epping Community Church held services downstairs in the vestry, as oil was not affordable to heat the sanctuary. Elaine, the choir director of the Epping Community Church, and still is, by the way, decides to put on a Broadway musical to raise money to buy oil for the church. Elaine had taught music, grades 1 through 12, in the Epping schools, so combining her church choir and people from all the families she knew by teaching, she cast her favorite Broadway show, Guys and Dolls. The town hall welcomed the Epping Community Church players as home for this first musical. This would be the first 157 productions to come, spanning 43 consecutive years. It's a sellout. So begins the journey of one summer production a year to raise money for the church, for the Epping Ambulance Fund, for the town hall improvements, the Epping Band Program, and Heifer Project International, a worldwide organization working to eliminate world hunger. Leddy Center was to receive a plaque thanking us for being the largest contributor in New Hampshire to this worthy cause for 17 years. We began with one Broadway musical per year for the first 9 years, the first being Guys and Dolls, starring Nancy Carr, Elaine's first leading lady. And Nancy is here with us. Would you please stand, Nancy, to be recognized? Guys and Dolls also starred Roger Richards and Darrell Huddleston, who was the new minister in the Epping Community Church. Then Annie Get Your Gun, starring Tammy Rao, Laurie Werner, Peter Carr, Herb Rao, Darrell Huddleston, and Roger Gauthier. Tammy was also one of Elaine's first leading ladies, and Tammy's with us today too. Could you please stand, Tammy, to be recognized? This was followed by Oliver, starring Dennis Carr, Herb Rao, Paul Gustavson, and Laurie Werner. And then South Pacific. starring Tammy Rao, Linda Gauthier, Darrell Huddleston, and Paul Gustavson. And now we have the pleasure of Paul Gustavson singing Some Enchanted Evening from Rodgers and Hammerstein's South Pacific. In 1980, Carousel was the next show, starring Tammy Rao, Linda Werner, Darrell Huddleston, and Paul Gustavson. Then came Fiddler on the Roof in 1981, starring Paul Gustavson, Betty Billigan, Howard and Judy Phelps, Carol Warner, Tracy Roth, and Herb Roth. And our eighth show, Camelot, starring Paul Gustavson and Adrian Pryor. All of these shows were supported by amazing cast and accompanists, and produced, directed, and choreographed by Elaine, with musical direction and set building by her husband Bruce, with wonderful volunteers like Howard Phelps and Bob Moores in the Epping Town Hall. Our beginning sets were designed and painted by Herb Rao, who was a mainstay actor with us as well. Our first lighting was done by Chris Murphy and Carol Bilodeau, and Bill Williamson, and then carried on by Mike Poliquin and Allison Haskell for many years to come. Linda Gauthier not only starred in many shows throughout the following years, but was Elaine's faithful stage manager from day one, for many years to follow. Tom Gauthier pulled curtain for Elaine's very first production of Guys and Dolls, and continued to be in many productions throughout the 43-year run, including 2 productions in our final year. As a side note, Tom is the only person to have been in both Elaine's first production in 1975 and her final production in 2017. And she considers him one of the most wonderful people in the world. Those are her words. Of course, Elaine was Tom and Linda's music teacher when Elaine taught music in the Epping school system in the late 60s. 1983 brings us The Music Man, starring Paul Gustavson and Adrian Pryor, marking our final show at the Town Hall, and welcoming Mark and Richie Deo as our new lighting and sound people. Beginning another great saga, that of Mark Dale being on stage and lighting our stage for most of the 148 remaining shows. It also has to be noted that in every program for many years, Elaine thanked the Epping Fire Department for withholding their 9 p.m. whistle during all of her evening performances. And Elaine even got Santa Claus to shut off the sirens as he drove by the Christmas parade that passed in front of the Town Hall and Leddy Center during our Christmas matinees. As you can see, Elaine chose the biggest shows Broadway had to offer, and all of these shows received great reviews. In 1984, Elaine called Dr. Paul Gustafson's office for an appointment. She wasn't sick. She wanted Paul to play Fagin in her third production of Oliver. Paul, who had now become a mainstay with the Players, had purchased the Leddy building downtown for his medical practice, and he turned over the second floor to the Players as their new home. What a gift. It was such a relief not to have to schedule our rehearsals and shows around a busy town hall schedule. We have been blessed with 2 landlords in our 43-year legacy, Paul Gustavson and Steve Knepp. We certainly appreciate all you have done to make us possible. While preparing the historic Leddy building with tearing down the tons of plaster, Bruce, during the same time period, also transformed the Epping High School gymnasium into a theater, so Elaine wouldn't have to miss a beat in producing Hello, Dolly, the Players' 10th production, starring Shelia Allen as Dolly and Paul Gustavson as Horace Vanderbilt, Bruce Gatchell as Cornelius, Steve Bascom as Barnaby, Ellen Medeiros as Mrs. Malloy, and Carol Warner as Minnie Fay. Bruce and Dave Johnston built a revolving stage for the gymnasium and brought in risers from schools far and wide to accommodate the crowds that would be coming. Bruce also drove residents of the Rockingham nursing home to see this production, getting back to the school in time to play his role as Cornelius in Hello, Dolly. Bruce continued to work and continued to make over the new space in the Leddy building. That fall, 1984, the theater was ready and Dave Seiler and the UNH Big Band opened what was now to be called Leddy Center for the Performing Arts with a great concert. Bruce continued working on the new theater, constructing tiered seating, a thrust stage, a fire escape, a raised lighting booth. He also loaded old seats from the Laconia Opera House, which he picked up and delivered to Epping, skirting around traffic lights with 200 seats loaded on the back end of a big truck. Now, please welcome Shelia Allen Harris, reprising her role as Nancy from Oliver, singing As Long as He Needs Me.
As long as he needs me. Oh yes, he does need as he needs me. I miss him so much when he is gone, but when he's near me, I don't let on the way I feel inside, the love I have to hide, the hell I've got my pride, as long as he needs me. He doesn't say the things he should, he acts the way he thinks he should, but all the same, I'll play this game his way, as long as he needs me. I know where I must be. I'll cling on steadfastly, as long as he needs me. I miss him so much when he is gone, but when he's near me, I don't let on. I won't betray his trust, though people say I must. I've got to stay true, just as long as he needs me.
In 1985, McDonald's asked us to entertain their special guests for their grand opening in Epping. We were here before McDonald's. We decided to do a number from Hello Dolly, but Shelia was sick at the time. So Elaine filled in as Dolly at the McDonald's opening, and also at the opening of the refurbished Ioka Theater in Exeter. The first Broadway musical in the new Leddy Center for the Performing Arts. As a side note, it's Leddy Center, not the Leddy Center, was My Fair Lady in July, with another fabulous cast starring Paul Gustavson, Paul Hudson, and Eric Speed. Jerry Tilley, who played the Queen in My Fair Lady, became Elaine's first amazing secretary, with a small space for an office in the basement of the theater. Paul Ladd, who sold ads beginning with Oliver in 1977, continued selling hundreds of ads for many years to come. We're so indebted to Paul for his many years. Well, now we needed a lobby where our audience could gather, mingle, and eat our soon-to-be famous hot dogs. So Elaine took up Paul Gustafson's offer to rent a room on the first floor of the Leddy building. In order to pay the rent on this additional space that we desperately needed as a lobby, Elaine decided to have an acting and dancing studio. Elaine found Ardell Welch to teach acting, and the wonderful Natalie Rice to teach dance. And thus, this was the birth of our Leddy Center School for the Performing Arts. Down the road, we also offered great arts camp overnights held at the Epping Elementary School under the direction of Dave Johnston. Classes in musical theater and acting were eventually taught by Paul Lefebvre, Dan Bolio, Jennifer Carden, Melissa Ransdell, and Daniel Stowe. along with summer camps with Elaine and Mary Gatchell, Jen Carden, Melissa, and Danielle. We eventually rented the building next door to Leddy Center, formerly known as the Fact Finders Building, which was bought by Paul Gustavson, and private lessons in all instruments were added to the curriculum. But before we could do this, Bruce built 3 small private studios, an office, and a large dance floor in this new space, with donated materials from Wentworth Lumber and great volunteers. Bruce and his son Ryan and Mark Deo laid the beautiful hardwood floors that grace the waiting area to these studios. But we're getting ahead, so let's return to 1985. Elaine decided to begin a concert series, as it was her desire to have a true performing arts center with professional guest musicians performing each month, in addition to the Broadway musicals she was producing in-house. In 1985 alone, Elaine booked Putting on the Ritz, Kitchen Sink Mime Theater, Saltwater Tuffy's Barbershop Quartet, and Northeast Winds. She also added a second musical that fall, choosing the longest-running show off-Broadway by producing, directing, and choreographing The Fantastics. It starred Reverend Carol Moore, Ellen Medeiros, Wayne St. Hilaire, Bob Hudson, Bruce Gatchell, Richard Moore, Paul Gustavson, and Shelia Allen Harris, and was accompanied by Chris Ballone on the piano. And they received rave reviews. In 1986, Elaine put on the very popular Broadway musical Annie, starring daughter Mary Gatchell as Anne, Paul Gustavson as Daddy Warbucks, and Ellen Medeiros as Grace Spider. Bruce was President Roosevelt, leading another star-studded cast. And again, we received rave reviews, and again, much money was made for charity. Elaine also booked American Chamber Winds, the Paul Broadnax Four, New England Brass Quintet, Smoke and T.J. Wheeler, and the New England Matrix, in her now called Subscription Concert Series. She then produced, directed, and choreographed Carlo Manotti's beautiful Christmas opera, Amal and the Night Visitors, starring Jonathan Tilley as the child Amal and Ellen Medeiros as the mother. Paul Gustavson, Bob Hudson, and Don Latham were our kings, with a magnificent chorus of shepherds. The 1987 subscription series featured Tim Jennings' Storyteller, Viola Premier Saxophone Quartet, the Port and Starbird Band, Nashua Symphony Chamber Chorus, and the Ritz. Elaine also booked a concert series performer each year to perform assemblies at 3 area schools the same day their concert was to be held later in the evening at Leddy Center. The Broadway musical performed that year was The King and I, and was featured with 2 full pages of coverage by the Manchester Union Leader. It starred Paul Gustavson as the King and Ellen Medeiros as Anna, with John Tilley as the Prince, John Gustafson as Luis, Eric Speed as Luta, Shelia Ann Harris as Lady Pang, and Elizabeth Anderson as Tup Tim. Another side note, Ellen Medeiros, an expert seamstress by trade, made all of her gowns based exactly on those worn by Deborah Card in the movie. Each was as exquisite as her performance was as Anna.
And she is here tonight.
And Ellen is here tonight. Please stand, Ellen. This year, Elaine added another Christmas show to be presented in conjunction with Amal and the Night Visitors. This was O. Henry's Gift of the Magi, starring Paul Gustavson and Shelia Allen Harris. And now it's our pleasure to have our own wonderful Ashley Bush performing Hello, Young Lovers from The King and I.
Hello, young lovers, whoever you are. I hope your troubles are few.
In 1988, Elaine realized that the public really wanted more Broadway musicals, so she added a third musical to be produced in the fall. Productions this year were Guys and Dolls, starring Judy Mitchell and Dawn Latham, Linda Eckert, Richard Moore, Paul Gustavson, and Tom Gauthier. The Wizard of Oz, starring Mary Gatchell as Dorothy, with Sean Crapo, Paul Gustavson, and Bruce Gatchell as the Scarecrow, the Cowardly Lion, and the Tin Man. And Amal and the Night Visitors, with Kathy Spillane and John Tilley, with The Gift of the Magi, starring Paul and Shelia. Also this year, Elaine was chosen as one of New Hampshire's Women of the Year by the Manchester Union. 1989 brought South Pacific, starring Jim Catch, Paul Gustafson, Cindy Lynch, Chong Yi Roten, and Betty Villeneuve. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, starring Al Chase as Willy Wonka and John Tilley as Charlie. Howard Phelps, Tom Gauthier, Jim Catch, Liz Anderson, Jim Sterling, Nick Zimmerman, Linda Gauthier, Sheila Allen Harris, and featured Amy Carlton, Meredith Govia, and Jessie Delgado. These popular performances ran as expected into the Christmas season, so this year, The Gift of the Magi with Paul and Sheila went on the road, touring area nursing homes. The 1990 subscription concert series included the first annual Leddy Evening of Jazz, the Barbara London Quartet, and DOA World Music. Broadway musicals this year were Oliver, starring Sheila Allen Harris, Paul LaFave, John Tilley, and Nick Zimmerman. We also did Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, starring Erica Miles and Ted Latham. And The Gift of the Magi, combined with a Christmas concert by the York Singers. 1991 brought the amazing Ellen Gregg as our new secretary. 1991 also brought A.R. Gurney's The Dining Room as a guest performance, the second annual Leddy Evening of Jazz, and the first day, a play written by Paul Gustafson commemorating the founding of Epic. This year, we began producing our annual Gilbert and Sullivan operettas in March, as we would for the next 17 years, thus becoming the Gilbert and Sullivan Society of New Hampshire. As a side note, February and March were basketball months in the Gatchell household, so the rehearsal schedules for Gilbert and Sullivan shows were built around the basketball schedules of Paul, Ryan, and Mary. But everyone understood that and made every rehearsal in Elaine's otherwise very consistent schedule of Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Our first Gilbert and Sullivan show was HMS Pinafore, starring Paul LaFave, Al Chase, Al Graceffa, Valerie Zofka, Peg Johnson, and Paul Gustafson. Our summer show was Evie White's and Charles Strauss's Charlotte's Web, starring Christine Gooch, Al Chase, Ellen Gregg, Deborah Marcotte, Richard Moore, Tim Chase, and Colby Glass. And yes, we actually flew Charlotte up and down to her wedding. Evie White's niece, Lindsay Moran, made a special presentation to our Fern on stage and would continue to do so each time we produced her uncle's great story. And we have the pleasure of having Lindsay with us here tonight. This year, our new Christmas show was Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, starring Gary Noseworthy as Scrooge and Bruce Gatchell as Marley. This year, Bruce built the tunnel, allowing travel from backstage left and right, forming the Tunnel Olympics. The Tunnel Olympics was the loving name given to the action one had to take to cross over, in, and around the narrow tunnel, as actors had to climb over, climb under, walk around sideways, or crawl on their hands and knees in order to cross from one side of the stage to the other, and not bump their heads going in and out. 1992 was another busy year in the office with Ellen Gregg, and it brought our second Gilbert and Sullivan production, The Pirates of Penzance, starring Valerie Coward, Paul Gustavson, and Peg Johnson. Hello, Dolly, starring Valerie Coward and Paul Gustavson, Bruce Gatchell, Faith Day, and T. Chase. And Heidi, starring Darcy McLaren, with a live goat from Riversley Farm in Essex. We also received the honor of having Dramatic Publishing Company choose our picture of Heidi to advertise the play in their professional catalog. And again, we ended our season with A Christmas Carol, starring Gary Noseworthy and Bruce. As a side note, A Christmas Carol was to be performed for 14 Christmases during our 43-year run, the most produced show at Leddy Center. In 1993, Paul Ladd and Elaine tried to outdo each other with their Leddy vanity. Elaine's on the top, it says Leddy, and Paul's is on the bottom, it's Leddy Center for the Performing Arts. 1993 also brought our third Gilbert and Sullivan production, The Mikado, starring Peg Johnson, Paul Lefebvre, Edie Shipley, Diane Day, Greg Johnson, Paul Gustavson, and Michael Coppola. The Mikado was the first of 53 shows that I would be in here at Leddy Center. Then came Damn Yankees, starring Henry Farrell, Christine Booth, Deborah Marcotte, and Barry Byrne. And Anne of Green Gables, starring Liz Harvey, Gillian Hutchinson, Justin Catalino, Scott Walker, Paul Lefebvre, and Deborah Marcotte, with performances, again, that ran into our Christmas season. In 1994 brought our fourth Gilbert and Sullivan production, Iolanthe, starring Edie Shipley, Paul Lefebvre, Deborah Marcotte, Valerie Coward, Henry Farrell, and Paul Gustavson, and the fifth Leddy Evening of Jazz, and The Music Man, starring Paul Gustavson, Edie Shipley, Michael Coppola, Kevin Murphy, Linda Carter, and Shannon Bigelow. 1994 also brought The Foggy Dew, our own Kevin Murphy's Irish band, and the world premiere performance of The Secret Garden, written by Susan Kossoff and Jane Staub, founders of Wheelock Family Theater in Boston, starring Corey McCalligan, Tyler Goodspeed, Gillian Hutchinson, and Linda Carter, with performances that once again ran into the Christmas season. We had the honor of having the authors Susan Kossoff and Jane Staub attending one of our performances. 1995 brought a surprise celebration for Elaine and Bruce for their 20th year, with a great dinner at the church and great entertainment at the theater. 1995 also continued our very successful Leddy School for the Performing Arts, with great performances from our young thespians. And it also brought the Mitch Seidman Quartet. Our fifth Gilbert and Sullivan production, The Gondoliers, starring Paul Gustavson, Bob True, Jennifer Carden, Michael Coppola, Tracy Hurley, Donna Llewellyn, Henry Farrell, and Diane Rush. We had Mary Gatchell in concert, her first of 23 years of performing in concert at Leddy Center. And My Fair Lady for the second time, this time starring Lise Desjardins, Paul Gustavson, and Chet Fuller. We had Charlotte's Web for the second time, this time starring Bob True and Sarah Tody. And because we miss celebrating Christmas, we decided to present A Magical Leddy Christmas, which was our in-house concert choir with our own beautiful Leddy voices directed by Bruce Gatchell, with the Epping Community Church Bell Choir directed by Elizabeth Gustavson, followed by The Gift of the Magi with Shelia and Paul. 1996 brought our 6th Gilbert and Sullivan production, Ruddy Gore, starring Jane Parody, Paul Gustavson, Michael Coppola, Henry Farrell, Donna Llewellyn, and Stephanie Johnson. This next picture shows one of the many duties in running a performing arts center, changing the road sign and all kinds of weather for every show. This year also brought Mary Gatchell in concert back, but this time it was held at the Ioka in Exeter. And we had the Broadway musical Into the Woods, starring Lise Desjardins, Kevin Murphy, Michael Coppola, Linda Carter, Jennifer Carden, Donna Tung, Corey McCalligan, and an all-star cast. And we also had our 3rd annual Foggy Dew concert with the Northeast Winds. We produced A Little Princess, starring Corey McCalligan, Linda Carter, Bill Yell, Paul Gustavson, and Mariella Hill. And we had the return of a magical Leddy Christmas chorale and bell choir with the gift of the Magi. In 1997, Bruce installed 2 ramps, one ramp replacing the stairs from the top of the theater entrance to the stage to accommodate Ted his milk wagon and Fiddler on the Roof, and to serve the rest of us as well, actors and audience members. And ramp 2, replacing 16 chairs in the stage left audience. There was also a great fundraiser initiated that year by Diane Day, that garnered new beautiful black velvet curtains. Thank you, Diane. Also built permanent walls on stage left and stage right of our thrust stage. 1997 also brought our 7th Gilbert and Sullivan production, Patience, starring Paul Gustavson and Donna Tung, and our 4th annual Foggy Dew concert. And we also had Mary Gatchell in concert, and that summer we produced Fiddler on the Roof, starring Paul Gustavson and Linda Carter. Linda Gauthier, Michael Coppola, Jennifer Carden, Holly Peck, Bill Ivers, Corey McCalligan, Scott Walker, Lindsey Graham, Chet Fuller, and Dave McGregor, along with another all-star cast. And then we produced Anne of Green Gables, starring Gillian Hutchinson and Gillian Campbell. Paul LaFave as Matthew and Gillian Campbell as Anne rode in Dr. LaBarre's horse and buggy to sign autographs at McDonald's that year as a great promotion for our show. And our season ended with the very popular A Magical Leddy Christmas with chorale and bell choir and the gift of the Magi. Birthday parties and cast parties continue to mark each show and special occasion. 1998 brought the celebration of our 50th production, Gilbert and Sullivan's The Yeoman of the Guard, starring Donna Tung, Paul Gustavson, Jennifer Carden, and Michael Coppola.
Donna Tung is here.
Donna Tung is here. Donna's in the house. Murphy made a beautiful quilt with show names and dates, along with show logos commemorating Leddy's 50th production. It's truly a work of art and is displayed here in the lobby this afternoon. The players also put on a whole show, rehearsing secretly when Elaine and Bruce weren't around, and presented a huge tribute concert in their honor for this celebration. A great part of the 1998 season was Mary Gatchell in concert, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel, starring Mike Ingersoll, Jane Paradis, Jennifer Carden, Jenny Kurtzman, and Paul Gustavson. And our newly added August show, Nonsense. Jennifer Carden, Corey McCallaghan, Devin Whitecott, Jennifer Carden, and Peg Johnson. In the fall, we brought back Heidi, starring Lindsey Graham, Paul Gustavson, Ellen Gregg, and Kevin Murphy, with another wonderful goat from another wonderful farm. As a side note, Leddy Productions have had live goats, live cats, and live dogs. We brought back a magical Leddy Christmas, with Elizabeth Gustavson leading the exquisite bell choir from the Epic Community Church, adding to the magic of our own Leddy Chorale, directed by Bruce Gatchell, followed by The Gift of the Man. 1999 saw the return of Gilbert and Sullivan's The Pirates of Penzance, starring Brett Mallard, Donna Tongue, Michael Coppola, Henry Farrell, Deborah Marcotte, Dave McGregor, wait for this one, and Jennifer Carden. We had Mary Gatchell in concert, and that summer we did Hello Dolly, starring Donna Tongue as Dolly with Paul Gustavson, Brett Mallard, Jennifer Carden, Scott Walker, Shannon Bilo, and another cast of incredible waiters led by Kevin Murphy as Rudolph. Ooh, that jumped right in. We did Nonsense 2, The Second Coming, with Linda Carter, Jen Carden, Deborah Marcotte, Jennifer Graham, and Kat Murphy, and we had The Return of the Wizard of Oz, starring Lindsey Graham, Michael Coppola, Donald Tongue, Linda Carter, and Paul Gustafson. And then we brought back the magic chorale and bell choir, and the gift of the magic. In 2000, Leddy Center School for the Performing Arts was going strong, along with summer camps in full swing with Jennifer Carden and Elaine and Mary Gatchell. We also had the return of Gilbert and Sullivan's HMS Pinafore, starring Brett Mallard, Donna Tongue, and Paul Gustavson. We had Mary Gatchell in concert, and we did Annie that summer, starring Colby Ray McCabe, Amy Wallen, Michael Coppola, and Brett Mallard. We continued with Nonsense Jamboree with Amy Zeinhauser, Michael Coppola, Jennifer Carden, Lindsey Graham, Linda Carter, and Jennifer Graham. We brought back Charlotte's Web with Lindsey Graham, Jennifer Carden, Lauren DeClue, Paul Gustavson, and Michael Coppola. And we had a beautiful in-house concert play, A Story of Christmas, written especially for us by our own Ellen Gregg, starring Corey McCallaghan and Joel Sadler. Now, February seemed to be lacking, so in 2001, another show was added in the February slot, Love Songs, a musical review written in-house by Michael Coppola and Ellen Gregg, followed by Gilbert and Sullivan's The Mikado, starring Donna Tongue, Joel Sadler, Hunter Comack, Ellen Gregg, Deborah Marcotte, and Paul Gustafson. We brought back Mary Gatchell in concert. And that summer we produced Oliver, starring Jonathan Fitz, Steve Miller, Dan Bolio, Michael Coppola, and Shannon Bilo, along with a wonderful troupe of ragtag urchins and pickpockets. Godspell, starring Michael Coppola and Brandon Mather, Deborah Marcotte, Jennifer Carlton, Amy Wallen. Godspell. Muscle memory. That fall, we brought back Anne of Green Gables, starring Lauren DeClue, Gillian Campbell, Dan Bolio, and Jonathan Fitz, and A Story of Christmas, starring Sarah Dickinson and Joel Sadler. 2002 brought the first of our many to follow non-musicals. A.R. Gurney's Love Letters sported 3 superb casts: Linda Carter, Amy Wallen, Ellen Gray, and Paul LaFay. This non-musical was followed by Gilbert and Sullivan's Iolanthe with Henry Farrell and Amy Gwen Wallen. We had Mary Gatchell in concert, and we did Fiddler on the Roof with Linda Carter, Lauren DeClue, Lindsey Graham, Hunter Comack, Greg Johnson, and Paul Gustavson. That August, we did an in-house review on Broadway, starring so many of us performing musical numbers from many of our favorite shows. We even had Bruce and Elaine in this production. That fall, we brought back Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Jonathan Fitz, Michael Coppola, Hunter Comack, with Veruca, Violet, Mike TV, and Augustus Gloop, played respectively by Hilary Webster, Carly Starr, Nick Renheckern, and David Polito. That holiday season, we did Nutcrackers, the Nonsense Christmas musical, starring Donna Tunn, Jennifer Carden, Michael Coppola, Linda Carter, and Deborah Marcotte, with Jonathan Fitz, Ryan Guest, Lauren DeClue, and Heidi Kirby. 2003 continued with our newfound love of non-musicals with the production of Yasmina Reese's Tony Award-winning Best Play, Art, starring Michael Coppola, Gary Noseworthy, and Paul LaFay. This was followed by Gilbert and Sullivan's The Gondoliers with Bob True, Donna Llewellyn, Diane Rush, Alexandra Asacker, Nick Patry, Sarah Dickinson, Donna Tung, Paul Gustafson, and Hunter Comack. We had Mary Gatchell in concert. And that summer, we produced Guys and Dolls, starring Michael Coppola, Sarah Dickinson, Jennifer Carden, and Hunter Comack. That fall, we did The Fantastics, starring Michael Coppola, Jennifer Carden, Robert Dionne, Hunter Comack, Paul LaFay, Gary Noseworthy, William Yell, and Lauren DeClue. And we did Cinderella, starring Mariella Hill and Tim Jacobs. and our in-house Christmas show, A Gift of Song, directed by Bruce Gatchell. Side note, Michael Coppola won Best Actor at the New Hampshire Theatre Awards this year for his performance of Alagayo in The Fantastic. And now, here from The Fantastic are Jennifer Carden as the girl and Rob Dionne as the boy, performing They Were You.
I was foolish.
No, I was too. Believe me, more than you.
When the moon was young and the month was May, when the stage was hung for my holiday, I saw shining stars, but I never knew they were you, they were you, they were you.
When the dance was done, when I went my way, when I tried to find rainbows far away, all the lovely lights seemed to fade from view. They were you, they were you, they were you. Without you near me, I can't see. When you're near me, wonderful things come to me.
Every secret breath,
Every fancy free,
everything I dare for both you and me, all my wildest dreams multiplied by two. They were you,
they were you,
they were you.
they were you,
They were you.
they were you.
Now it's time for a break. So please mingle in the lobby and enjoy a complimentary pastry from Popovers, coffee courtesy of Starbucks, and popcorn courtesy of Bruce. See you